Okay, so I'd like to start this episode off introing two things. One, I want to share my story of how I started doing stand up. And then two, I want to discuss what happened on the performance from the last episode. So, whenever I first started getting into stand up, it was 2018. I was living in San Diego at the time, and I was doing a 21-day water fast. Just water, 21 days. The goal was actually 22 days and was to tie/beat Gandhi's longest fast and hit 30 in tip-top shape. And during this time was whenever I first started listening to the stand-up podcast, to the comedy podcast, and watching comedy specials. And very quickly, I started realizing that a lot of these people were referencing the same venue, the Comedy Store in LA. And as I was not eating for 21 days, I needed something to fill my time and to keep my mind occupied. So I was like, okay, I'll start driving up to LA and go see what's going on at the Comedy Store. It's only 2 hours from San Diego if you leave at the right time. And the tickets were only $20. So you'd see people just trying out their Netflix material, and you'd see, David Spade, Joe Rogan, Eric Griffin. I think Craig Cognac was the host, and people like Chappelle would just drop by, not even on the lineup. And then one night there was a woman that was closing who wasn't on the lineup as well, and she was amazing. And she was high energy, wholesome, good heart, and every one of these people up there were just had an aura to them and just commanded energy. They were pros, and she was like the epitome of that. And after her show, she was basically asking the audience some questions, and I was going to raise my hand and ask if, she'd ever date someone that and then describe what I looked like. But I didn't do that. But I was like, I need to meet her. So after the show was over, outside the Comedy Store, I went up to her, and she had also said, there's probably only 3 of y'all in here who don't know who I am. I was one of the 3. And then after the show, I was like, I've got to meet her. So I saw her outside the venue, and I went up to her, and she turned out to be Tiffany Haddish. And I was like, yo, would you be interested in writing together sometime? And she's like, what's your name? I'm like, Patrick Daly. She's like, do you have an agent? I was like, no, I just started doing this. Well, she was like, call me whenever you get an agent. And I'm like, I will do. That's been in the back of my head ever since then. But shortly after that, I went back to San Diego, and the Comedy Store had another venue in La Jolla. And I signed up for their open mic. And basically, there's a drawing there that if you get picked, then you get to go on stage. And a lot of the time, you don't even get picked. So sure enough, the first time I'd ever signed up, my name got picked. And they're like, you're on tonight. And at this point, I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into? But this is where something really important comes into play. Is I had heard Bill Burr in a podcast say, when it comes to the business side of comedy, do the basics well. And my interpretation of that was, if I got picked, I can at least show up and do the act. So now I had to write a joke. And basically at this time I was hanging out with a woman, and she was just a friend, but we were, my vibe, juicing, making candles in mason jars. And her boyfriend, again, I was just hanging out with a friend. She told her boyfriend that she was hanging out with a guy who was really cool. And he's like, well, what's he do that's so cool? She's like, well, we juice and we make candles. If my girlfriend had told me that she was hanging out with a guy that was really cool, that juices and makes candles, I'd be like, what a douchebag. Well, that being said, the next time she goes over to his house, he has like 30 candles spread for them to do. And me and my boy were like, what if I start like, building tiny houses or quilt weaving? what kind of extracurricular activities is this guy going to have to try to keep up with? And that idea was the premise for my first performance at the Comedy Store. It went okay. And needless to say, Rogan says that it takes 10 years to become a stand-up comic. And that may have been true at one point, but now we have something that they did not have. We have the internet, and we have tens of thousands of hours of comic after comic laying blueprints of what to do and what not to do being a comic. And I've been utilizing that when it comes to writing, the business side of things, anything that I can learn from the people that have come before me. So, with that being said, had I not heard Bill Burr say to do the basics right, I might not have went up that day. Super important. And now pivoting to the last show, looking back at the show that I had did on the last episode, there's things that went well and things that were horrible. The things that went well were I told one of the jokes about playing Crash Bandicoot with a woman at an open mic and nobody even listened to it. Then at the show, I said the same joke and it got some chuckles. Was dating a girl from the suburbs recently who lived with her parents. And if you were wondering what you do whenever you visit a girl who lives with her parents, pretty much middle school things, you play Crash Bandicoot. And what do you think that you do at a girl's house that's 30 who lives with their parents? You play Crash Bandicoot, dog. It was a sick night, dude. You, Cortex. That was a great time. Here's the kicker. The delivery at the show was worse. But people were listening to it, so they were able to laugh at it. So I proved the concept that once I get to the shows, my whole performance and act is going to go over a lot better. Now, I completely failed with the delivery. My tone, my rhythm, inflection, pauses, the volume of how I was projecting, those were all horrible. And some of my material wasn't good. So now I just need to go back, do another performance, fix the delivery, tweak the material, and correct the mistakes. And that's how I operate on most things. When it comes to building, I'll make a mistake. Then the next day, I shouldn't be making the mistake on the same task. So practice the delivery and just drive this home. Some mistakes will be made. You fix them. I know what I need to fix. Also, when it comes to the video, I'm going to have 3 or 4 different shooters there, plans and backup plans. So with that being said, I'm going to use this episode to get my ending for the documentary and to correct the mistakes I made on the last stand-up set. And this documentary doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be done and completed. And that's been the essence of this entire project. And I'm going to leave this intro with a clip of something I learned from some of my favorite comics when it comes to the business and the creative process of stand-up.
Yeah.
So Dice would be up like
Oh
super
yeah,
late.
come on, and he's telling me, you can't look at other people's career. You got your own path.
That's
and,
good advice.
You can't be upset if somebody else gets something. It just really taught me kind of how to. The only thing you have control of is how you perform and write. Anything else is up in the
That's
air.
very good advice because that is a lot of wasted energy that a lot of comedians have, worrying about other people's sets and worrying about other people's careers. Like, why is that guy getting this?
Yeah.
Or why is she on this fucking show? How come he got a thing or this and that?
Nothing to do with you.
We've all seen that, though. Those guys that get poisoned by other people's success, those guys, they always wind up failing, too. Like, it falls apart. Like, that's... Like, jealousy is a poison that only it does the opposite of what you want it to do. Instead of, like, when you're jealous about somebody else's career, it doesn't do anything bad to them, but it does something bad to you. Like, it poisons you.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, people that think, fuck that guy. He's got this fucking TV show. He's not even fucking funny. I remember when he first started and I was fucking middling and he was an open micer. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's on TV now and you're here. Here's you.
Yeah.
Go down, go down, go down. Yeah, let me see you go to town. Yeah. Go down, go down, go down. Yeah, let me see you go to town. Go down, go down, go down. Yeah, let me see you go to town. Yeah. Go down, go down, go down. Yeah, yeah. If you're down, boy, really down. Baby, let me watch you go to town. It's your one chance, baby, never hold now. Yeah. Let me see you go to town, baby. Go to town, yeah. Baby, let me watch you go to town. It's your one chance, baby, never hold now. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go down, go down, go down. Yeah. Let me see you go to town. Yeah. Go down, go down, go.
Okay, so Chris Nakis, who booked me for my first show, has agreed to book me for another show. And this is it. This is my web redemption. And I know what I need to do. Until then, I'm going to show a few interviews with Joe Bartnick. He is from Pittsburgh. Whenever we interviewed, he was coming off a tour with Bill Burr. And there were so many people that could have helped me along the way. And some people did, some people didn't. I reached out to loads of people and I asked Joe Bartnick for an interview. He had me over to his house and sat down with me for an hour and a half, bestowing all of his knowledge and wisdom from doing stand-up for the past 30 years or so. And he couldn't be more of a nicer guy. And I just want to share with people, focus on the people and things that do help you, that are willing to help you, as opposed to the people who don't want to help you. And, a lot of people think that like comedy and things like that can be really cutthroat or survival of the fittest. There's aspects of it that are like that, but my contention is most species live in a symbiotic relationship with one another. And that's my vibe, is just trying to bring the best out of the people that are around me, get better, and, raising the vibration for the groups of people in your network and in your community. And you can get exponentially a lot more done with a tight-knit crew than you can just on your own. There's merit to doing stuff on your own, but that can really only take you so far. So, having a good crew and, community is definitely something that is lacking in our current social landscape. And, I believe in myself, and sometimes having encouragement from someone else can, really steer you in the right direction. I remember I had one teacher in high school, Mr. Palmer, who I was really on the fritz of things, and he told me, he's just like, Pat, I know that you're going to be okay. And having somebody say something like that to you whenever, you know, you might be unsure of yourself or the future or your abilities can really, you know, mean a lot. And, you know, that was almost 20 years ago. That vibe stays with me. So these little things about, you know, helping one another and bringing people up, you know, can really go a long way. And I couldn't be any more grateful for the people that have helped me in everything in my life, especially with this project. And, you know, giving back is the vibe. And that's what I'm doing with film and comedy. I'm using them as outlets to give back to society and hopefully to inspire and raise the vibration of the people of this world. And, you know, that is, you know, that's my essence, that's my vibe. And just staying connected with God, spreading that energy around, and, you know, helping people that want help and helping people that, you know, maybe just might need a little bit of encouragement. So until the show, I'm going to drop a few interviews, leave it at that. And,
Yes, I mean, bars are the best shows you could get at the beginning. I mean, in all honesty, I didn't start in Pittsburgh because when I was at the age when you would start, there was no comedy scene in Pittsburgh. There was nothing. Like, you know, when you go to a coffee shop, we got coffee right here. Like, there was no coffee shops. There was no Starbucks. There was, people just went to work in Pittsburgh. The scene changed, you know, in the probably around 2000 when DVE kind of took a bigger interest in comedy. And you had guys like Randy Bauman really spearheading the charge. The morning DJ at DVE. But, you know, I started in San Francisco, and there we played coffee shops, and we played gas stations, we played laundromats, we played everywhere. And that's what you have to do when you start beginning stand-up. Like, there's no stage you can ever turn down, daytime, nighttime. I played the Oxygen Bar, you know, just the way it goes.
Oxygen bars.
Yes.
On 13-year-old on vacation on the boardwalk, I'd be hitting up the Oxygen bar. San Francisco.
Well, I just always wanted to be a comedian. You know, I loved watching Johnny Carson. I loved watching David Letterman. And I love when the comedians would come on. And, you know, Rodney Dangerfield and, you know, Jerry Seinfeld. Rodney Dangerfield on Tonight Show. Jerry Seinfeld on Letterman. Dennis Miller, who grew up like 3 subway T stops away from me. My mother knew his mother. And I always wanted to be Dennis Miller on the Saturday Night Live. And then... you know, and Delirious, Eddie Murphy was the biggest breakthrough. That's why almost every comedian of my generation, like 4 years ahead of me, 4 years after me, is because of Eddie Murphy Delirious, because he came out in the red suit. He wasn't some, you know, middle-aged white guy and like trying to get on Carson with a suit and a tie and a vest. He followed the Bus Boys, and he came out in the red suit, and he was electric. And it was like the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. Kids picked up guitars, and everyone that I knew just wanted to be a comedian after that. And I can still do that whole hour. You know, it's the most amazing thing. That and Chris Rock Bring the Pain, I think, are the 200 out of 100 stand-up specials. But I just always wanted to be a comedian. And like I said, there was nothing in Pittsburgh at that time. There was no scene. But that was it. You know, I didn't know how you started. But I did know that San Francisco was in the comedy boom. And I saw, Robin Williams live from the Punchline. So I moved to San Francisco and got a job working the door at the Punchline, and that was how I started doing comedy. And it was the great thing was the Punchline was owned by Bill Graham, who also the famous Bill Graham, who owned the Fillmore and the Warfield. So I got to work security at the Fillmore and the Warfield, and then so I got to see incredible rock and roll, and then I got to watch the greatest comedians on earth, and they were at this point, all the San Francisco guys moved to L.A. But there's still all the top dogs, but there was a great scene. Because in those days, there was no, like, it wasn't expensive to live there. You could be a broke comic. You could just work at, like, Amoeba record store 2 days a week, and you could still live there. So there'd be, like, you know, probably 150 people that were pretty starting out and on the road, and then 100 people that were just crazy homeless people or just that needed, like, so, you know, they couldn't afford a psychiatrist, so they just came to open mics. But, you know, there's probably like 50 working professional comics, and then 100 people that were like either hosting at the Punchline or always getting up on the Sunday showcases and Cobb showcases, or just very much near that level. And so it was a huge community. So we'd do like 12, 15 open mics a week, or bar showcases that you could just go around, and you do 3 a night. That's what I tell every fall for like 25 years, Neil Young would get together the greatest artists in the world to play the Bridge School benefit. The Bridge School was a school that helped his son who had medical issues.
Okay.
He couldn't attend a regular school. And they would get like Tom Petty, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Tony Bennett. I mean, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Whatever, you name the biggest people, like I said, Tom Petty, Red Hot Chili, Foo Fighters, Paul McCartney. They would come and be like, 2 nights, and they would have like, 5 or 6 of the biggest people every night. Well, one, we'd always go. It was actually the only time you couldn't get free tickets from Bill Graham if you worked for Bill Graham, because it was like a benefit for like $300. But one year it was like Tony Bennett, Tom Petty, the Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Me and my wife just said, we're paying, we're going. Mm-hmm. Absolute destruction rainstorm, like cats and dogs. So they delayed. I think maybe 2 bands went out, and then it came. We actually took garbage bags, like from the the garbage cans. They were clean, but put them on and warm. And then just in this hurricane, Robin Williams, because there's no electricity, Robin Williams goes out and just yells to 20,000 people and does like an hour of improv just to make everybody happy for being there.
I mean,
because he was there. It was like Jesus. I mean, who can entertain 20,000 people without a microphone in a rainstorm? It's all about being on stage. You can never replicate being on stage. And that's what being a headliner or a guy that's been around like me 28 years, there's nothing I haven't seen. So I never get nervous or shook up, because it's like, I've seen everything. I've seen everything. So in my toolbox is a tool. Oh, okay, that happened. I know what I'm going to say. Or this is going on, I know what I'm going to say, because I've experienced everything. But if you're only go on stage once a week, or I'm twice a month, it's like, well, you're not experiencing what it is to be a comedian. Mm-hmm. And the biggest cop-out, especially if you're listening, you open micers, I don't mean that as a derogatory term, but don't say, oh, I'm just going to do some writing. Writing doesn't mean anything. I mean, you want to have good material, but you want to have a great stage presence. That means more than anything. Comedy is 90% charisma and confidence.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Again, you're doing phenomenal.
Okay.
What's your name again?
My name is Cass Goodworth.
Okay. And how long have you been doing comedy for?
I've been doing stand-up comedy for 2 years now. Almost being more comfortable on stage is crazy, because it's one of those things that if you don't do it almost every day, it feels like you're starting over at day one. And if I don't do it for a couple days, I find myself scared to like look at the audience and just feel so nervous. So people don't understand how much time and dedication it takes. And so I definitely think I've learned to just always, and another thing is too, you have to constantly be in a mindset of writing, like just every day you have to be thinking, I need to like write jokes. And once you get out of that mindset, it's really hard to get back into it. So it just becomes like a lifestyle. Try to just remind yourself, I mean, it does matter, but just be like, none of this matters. And if you do bad, it's like, I always just try to laugh at myself doing bad. It's like the best way to handle it, in my opinion, is to just be like, oh, they hated me. That was funny. And that's how you deal with it.
So yeah.
You have to learn to do bad with grace, because you also don't want to do bad and then visibly not handle it well, because that's not a good look.
Yeah.
So the difference between doing well and not doing well, I think, would be how well maybe I read the room beforehand, because it is really important to look at people and then adapt to them, because I always just tell myself, even at open mics, my job right here tonight is to make these people laugh. So I could really want to tell this one joke, but if I like look at the people and they do not look like they will enjoy it, you gotta just try. I always try to come up with stuff on the spot if I have to. Just, you kind of get a read for people, you get good at reading people, and you see what they like before you and what they might like. So I think for me, it's definitely, if I don't assess the situation well, and also nerves. Sometimes if I just come across as not confident, they'll just eat you alive. A joke I have that I always rely on, that if there's an emergency, I'm like, oh, I gotta bust it out, is this joke I have about my mom sucking dick, and it's just like a sweatshirt that she was wearing, that or a sweatshirt I found in her closet that said she was like blowjob queen, essentially. So I tell that one all the time.
Why?
And people like it. It's good for most demographics because older people like it because it references the word Hummer, which is like old people's speech. So they like that. They get a kick out of that. And then everybody just likes a mom sucking dick joke. So
Yeah, mom sucking dick joke is absurd enough to
Yeah,
hit almost
for sure.
all crowds. We all have moms.
Everybody, yeah.
At least it's not our mom.
Right,
Sucking
right.
the dick. We can laugh
Exactly,
at
exactly.
her
That's a
mom
good
sucking
point.
dick, dude. And then like, okay, so do you ever have a joke that doesn't land and then go right in? Well, my
Oh
mom-
yeah, for sure. If that's like my emergency all stops. That's like my closer usually. But if things aren't going well, I'm like, okay, well this one time my mom, we were hanging out. We have like a decent amount of mics, and I think it's a lot of them are in like nice bars, and I don't know, they're fun to be at. And I think just we have enough places to go that you can get stage time pretty much every day of the week. And maybe people don't think it's like the best stage time, but I think you just have to just trying to make anybody laugh is practice. And then for the cons, sometimes people just suck. Like the comics suck sometimes, and I drink a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. My favorite thing in the world is to laugh, so I have a group of people that I can laugh with all the time. That's
Okay, so the time has come. Finally, we've made it. And here's my redemption set. Right before this show, I had spoke with Seneca, who is a comic in Pittsburgh. He's a vet, and he gave me some really good advice about showing the other comics and hosts appreciation, engaging with the audience, and making them feel like we're all part of the same experience. That was one of the last things I needed to hear. And that being said, here's the culmination of everything I've learned from film and comedy, and it's being channeled to the ending of this documentary. With that being said, here's my redemption set.
First, in life, be nice to people. People like, be nice and be happy. People like being around nice people who are happy. And then if you're good to people, usually people are good to me. There's just energy. Now, in comedy, be funny. That's all. Don't ever think someone's holding you back. It's all in here. You just want to be positive about yourself and be funny, but be funny. Bitching about anything, about any system or this guy or that guy, or worrying about other people, that doesn't help anything. When you're undeniable, good things happen to you.
Patrick Daly. What the fuck's up, Wexford? How y'all doing? This is one of the wealthiest places in Pittsburgh. You guys know that? What do rich people like to do for fun? What's their favorite thing? No, the answer's not pay taxes. How do you do that? 1031 exchanges. Fuck capital gains. Expense everything. You didn't make shit this year. Take a loss, dude. Spend 6 months a day in Florida. Fuck income taxes. You guys are fun. Are you guys having fun? Yeah. This is full moon. I'm vibing right now. I'm usually where I need to be, when I need to be, doing what I need to be doing during a full moon. So I'm super grateful to be here with y'all today. And I love Chris. Can you guys give it up for Chris Nakis right here? He puts this on every month. He's the man. But we're out in Wexford. What do we got out here? Got Walnut Grill. Got Capital Grill. We got fucking saltwater pools, dog. This place is sick, dude. I'm happy to be here. A little bit about me, though. I just got off a juice cleanse last month. I'm a health nerd. That's what I do for fun. You guys want to give it up for celery by any chance? Celery, get some love. How about romaine, dude? The staple of any good salad. Fuck iceberg. There's no nutritional value. My bad. It's the staple of any good taco. I'm just having fun up here. But, my favorite fruit or vegetable is pineapple, dude. You know that shit takes 2 years to grow?
Yes.
It costs like $5. Weed takes 2 months to grow and it costs $300. How does that make sense? But over the past few years of my life, I've run into a lot of pineapple advocates, as I'd say, and I'd always be out and I'd see people with pineapple tattoos, and I go up to them and start going off like, pineapple tattoo, that's my favorite fruit. It takes 2 years to grow. And they're just like, okay. And later on I found out that pineapple is the symbol for swingers. I didn't know that. So as I'm going off my favorite fruit or vegetable, these people are just thinking, does this guy want to fuck? But yeah, I've been pretty sober. I haven't drank in like 5 years. I just run for fun, get the endorphins pumping and shit. But I did start a new antidepressant recently. I don't know if y'all are familiar with like Golden Teachers, Penis Envy, psilocybin. Mushrooms are what I'm talking about. Yeah. They're a great substance to figure shit out on, but they're the worst substance to drive on. I can't even find my cars whenever I go to drive on mushrooms. One of the most interesting substances to drive on, you guys familiar with sassafras by any chance? Ecstasy is pretty much ecstasy's cousin. MDA is sassafras. Molly's MDMA. But I got pulled over one time on sassafras, rolling tits, and the officer goes to me, "Sir, have you anything to drink tonight?" And I'm just like, "No, but do you have any water? Or like Gatorade? A Camel pack I could fucking suck on?" I was like, "All right, I need you to get out." This is a true story, San Diego. I'm gonna need you to get out of the car. I'm like, "Okay, what now?" He's like, "I'm gonna need you to walk a straight line." I'm like, "Walk a straight line?" My footwork on sassafras is phenomenal. I'm like Yao Ming in the paint. Walk a straight fucking line. I'll moonwalk across that line, dude. I'll fucking Dougie across that line, dude. I'll fucking do the birdie down that line. Sir, don't tempt me with a good time. But, my favorite of all substances to drive, and mind you, I'm sober as fuck now, is probably acid. LSD. Round of applause for acid, anyone? I don't know if you've ever driven at night on acid in a Jeep Wrangler with the doors and roof off, but it's just like Mario Kart. Except if you fall off the side of the 5 in San Diego, there ain't no Koopa Troopa to bring you back on Rainbow Road. You die. I'm actually better at driving on acid than I am sober. Because whenever I'm on acid, I would just be thinking several thoughts ahead, and I'm driving. I'm not talking like a thumbprint of acid, but like a healthy microdose. And I'd be driving like, okay, this guy up there, you're gonna make a left, hop the turn signal, and bam, left turn signal comes on. Just super in sync with the traffic. Mind you, whenever I'm driving sober, I'm fucking hitting bananas left and right. Mamma mia! I'm invincible on acid whenever I'm driving. I got 3 fucking red shells around me all the time and a star on deck, dude. I'm fucking rolling. I would make this drive from San Diego up to La Jolla all the time, and I pretty much just teleport up there in traffic. But the hardest substance I ever had to quit, hands down, Taco Bell, dude. That shit is fucking fentanyl of food right there, dude. As long as I'm not eating that, my day is good. I start having Taco Bell, I wake up like Doug, Stu, and Phil in The Hangover. I'm like, did I get Rufalin last night? What happened? I hope Mike Tyson's tiger isn't about to bite me whenever I go to brush my teeth this morning. Dude, I think they're putting something in that food to brainwash you, and it's comparable to like what Mugatu did to Zoolander at the spa to get hold of Prime Minister of Malaysia. I think with the right combination of cheesy gordita crunches, Doritos Locos Tacos, and God forbid the specialty edition lava sauce, Mugatu could get me to kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia. And winding this down here, I'm like, there has to be more people out there like me too. I read a woman called the police on Taco Bell because they ran out nacho cheese fries. That ain't even fentanyl behavior. That's bath salt behavior. Imagine calling the cops on your weed dealer because they ran out of Bubba Kush or Granddaddy Perp. It's like, fuck Silver Haze, dude. I don't want Girl Scout cookies. And in conclusion, my proposition is this shit should be Schedule 1. There's no nutritional value in it. You should at least have to be 21 years or older to eat it. Or if you're coming out like a POW type situation, Holocaust survivor, deer hunter, getting out there, it's like I just fucking played Russian roulette with the Viet Cong for 6 days. I'll eat anything. And it's not a craving, it's a disease. Thanks for letting me share.
Patrick Taylor. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, bro. Dude, thank you so much. You've
Yes,
been like
sir.
a great mentor to me.
Oh, stop.
Seriously. Talking fucking physics, comedy.
Let's do it. Anytime.
Yeah. All right, so like this is my redemption tonight. How do you think it went?
Oh, I mean, you know. What did I say last time?
Fine.
Fine. This one, fine too.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yeah.
Do you want an answer? I mean,
Yeah, sure.
comedy's hard. And, tonight, here's where, this is me talking. First of all, I have no authority to talk on any of this. But my opinion was, tonight you were a great change of pace. I think that's like a really cool, you'll find who you are in comedy is going to change over time and as you find yourself, your voice, as people say. And we're all still, many of us are still looking for our voice. But right now, the place where you fit great, and this might not be the case forever, but right now where you fit great is a change of pace. So people are coming in with like, I don't want to give away any of your stuff, but like people are coming with this like set up punch, and then you're coming in with this kind of like, hey, I am sober, but I'm gonna tell you some drug stories, but it's in a fun, like lighthearted way. You're gonna mention Mario Kart and Deer Hunter, and like it's gonna. I guess that's not that lighthearted, but the Mario Kart's lighthearted, and man, like people need that. A show needs that. Being a unique voice is a huge goal, and so that would be the thing to cling on to that you did great. Again, who am I? Like, I don't know, just be yourself, right? That was my only advice tonight, was be yourself. Yeah, so it was fun. It was a great show. Did you have fun doing the show? I'm looking at the camera. Okay, because it was fun.
Yeah, I had because say that again.
So when you watch your set, look at the rhythm of it, because I think a lot of where your jokes landed was like, it was a clever joke. Of course, everyone's got clever stuff. Some people don't, but almost everyone's got something clever. They've thought of it, right? They thought it's funny, and so they're presenting it. But you have to surprise the audience with it, and I feel like the rhythm of what you had today when you go back and watch it, I think you'll see the jokes that hit had good rhythm to them, and it was it was off balance rhythm. Like the punchline didn't come when you expected, and then it did come on like a half beat,
and it was a different joke than you expected to be there. So like, I don't know what the answer is going to be. You're going to take it wherever you want to take it, but it could be something like slowing it down even more, like watching the lines that didn't work, taking what worked in some of those lines and trying to replicate that on what did work, just from a rhythm standpoint. Because I think you had lines that hit harder than others, and I do think it was. I mean, they always say it's timing, but I think that was like the big thing too.
What I like about stand-up and what attracted me to stand-up was that it was these people that figured out how to explain some of the tougher things in life in a funny way, right? I was able to understand, I'll never forget this. The first time I saw stand-up was George Carlin on HBO, and he was speaking to me in a sense that was like, man, the way you just explained that is the way I feel, right? And you made me laugh. So, you know, stand up, do it.
Okay, so I've made it. The end of my first film project feels good. I knew I had it in me. And you know, during this process, I think that I've proven myself that I could finish a documentary, a film from start to finish. I have a good set of my stand-up that I'm happy to show to people. I also believe that my stand-up is good enough, and I think that I will most likely create a bunch of opportunities from the release of this film. So I think all the missions have been accomplished and learned a whole lot along the way. And just perseverance is where it's at. You know, if you just do not quit and you continue, you're going to get it done. But you have to start. That is really important. And, you know, I don't think that this documentary would have been as good had I not had that failure in episode 3. And, you know, I've shown to myself and anybody watching how to, you know, overcome things when they come at you, and not being surprised when things don't go the way they're supposed to, because that's life. It's going to happen. You're going to get a flat tire at some point. Expect it. And whenever it happens, you are pivoting and taking the positivity out of that situation, ideally in real time. And that was definitely some of the foundation of me being able to get through this entire project. And yeah, couldn't be any more happy with how it turned out, and super grateful for everybody that contributed along the way. I've mastered finishing and releasing, and, you know, Bartnick said to get more reps, so I'm going to listen to him. I come from the writing world, was leaning on most of my writing and not on performing as much. Now I'm going to apply both of those things together. Yeah, and I basically really want to give gratitude to some of my favorite influences: Tarantino, Coppola, J.K. Rowling. They're some of my favorite writers, directors, authors, creatives. So I pretty much wouldn't be here without their influence and inspiration when it comes to filmmaking and writing. And one of the main lessons that Bartnick bestowed on me was to be undeniably good at what you do. And that is just going to take everything to a whole other realm. So that's probably going to be my next focus when it comes to film, building, and comedy, being undeniable and staying in tune with God, energy, source, believing in myself, raising the vibration, living in gratitude. With that being said, stay tuned for the upcoming projects.
Welcome to the next level. What makes Yo.